minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I want to follow up on Mr. Olson's question with regard to the hurricanes. As you know, just last week the FCC released its report, Mr. Chairman, on Hurricane Michael, the recovery, and I appreciate that you actually went down to see the devastation over there. So one of the key findings, this states that many of the communications systems were repaired reasonably quickly, and I appreciate that, only to be, unfortunately, subsequently and accidentally taken down by debris cleanup crews, unfortunately. Again, Chairman Pai, I also understand, again, you toured the area and the damage, which is great. What issues did you see on the ground, and what are the best practices to help ensure that the delays with recovery from Hurricane Michael do not happen again?
I very much appreciate the question, Congressman. One of the number of lessons that we learned, number one, that there needs to be better pre-arranged roaming agreements among the carriers to ensure that if one network goes down, consumers are able to get connectivity. Another one was making sure that companies that are in the communication space communicate with those in the power space and vice versa. One of the biggest issues I heard when I was in Mexico Beach was the fact that some of the fiber crews out there that were going around making sure the fiber lines were back up and running, they would do their work, and then there might be a fiber cut an hour or two after because the power crew had come through with an auger, perhaps, and snipped that fiber. So I want to make sure that those folks are on the same page. Ultimately, we all have the same goal, getting energy and getting comms back up and running quickly. Making sure they're on the same page is a critical part of that.
So you think, in this respect, we're ready? Because, I mean, hurricane season is upon us.
I think we're in a much better position than we were. For example, recently I visited Georgia Power down in Atlanta, and one of the things they observed was that they do have a much more integrated relationship with all the communications providers in their service area. And so I think we're much more aware of the situation, and I think both the carriers and the energy companies have taken that to heart.
That's good to know. Thank you. Again, Chairman Pai, many of our veterans, retirees, and other Americans with hearing loss, I'm one of them, rely on the IPCTS service that you administer. Currently, you're considering allowing fully automated speech recognition to replace humans in ensuring accuracy of the service. I'm concerned that such action could result in inferior service as the testing already done does not replicate real-world conditions. Again, Mr. Chairman, would you commit to additional study and testing before you certify any ASR-only provider or service?
Appreciate your concern, Congressman, and that's why in our proposal we make clear that before we grant any certification to an IPCTS provider, that provider has to ensure that any ASR technology they use meets the mandatory minimum standards for service that those with disabilities who rely on that service would require. So yeah, that is built in to make sure that the service is top-notch.
Okay, but that's so very important, and again, if it's not right, then it's just not going to work. It's not suitable, and we'd have to have somebody with hearing loss actually test it to make sure that it's actually performing well. So I appreciate you doing that, and if you could follow up with us to make sure that happens, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yield.